Okay, I will walk you over the last assignment on SAP Predictive Analytics. This assignment is on segmenting stores using clustering. So, you need to download the CSV file from here, and the assignment is here. So, this assignment has the objective of segmenting retail stores based on various attributes to help with sales promotions. The country manager of a retail chain which has 150 stores is finalizing plans for 3 sales promotion strategies. Data pertaining to stores such as store location, sales turnover, store size, staff and profit margin are stored in a CSV file. The manager wants to segment the 150 stores into 3 different groups based on sales turnover, profit margin, store size and staff size so that specific strategies can be applied to each store segment. We will use clustering of retail stores data to assist the manager in developing promotion strategies. Given a data set, organizing it into meaningful groups is a basic and useful approach to data mining and data analysis. Clustering classifies samples into groups using a measure of association so that data points within a group are similar. Data points from different groups are not similar. Data points are multidimensional, that is, they consist of several variables. Visualization is not practical for humans when data sets consists of more than 3 dimensions. The input to a clustering exercise is a data set and the number of clusters. The result of the analysis is a set of clusters. K-means clustering is a method of finding clusters and their centers given a choice in the number of clusters. It is often used for market segmentation. The goal is to make the inter-cluster difference high and the intra-cluster difference low. So log on to SAP Predictive Analytics, get into Expert Analytics. Go to New Document, connect to the CSV file, go to Text, and then this is your file that you need to connect to. And then create. Okay, at this point note that 4 quantitative data are measures: profit margin, sales turnover, staff size and store size, and dimensions are profit margin, sales turnover, and there are others also. Now, what we will do is at this point we will go to Predict tab. We will use the algorithm called within clustering called RK-means. Okay, so connect that. Within configuration, we will just change the setting to of number of clusters to 3 and we will select all dimensions and we are done. And then we will also add the writer, data writer, and we will use the CSV writer. We'll configure that and we will use the file name. We will use a file name. So let's do SAP A8 and use your initials. I'll use my initials. Okay, save. So I say done and then I will run it. Okay, when I run the data, look at the cluster number here. Okay, go down and you will see one, 2 and 3. All 3 numbers are here. So let's get into the summary. In the summary, you will see that the size of each cluster is 50. That means there are 50 stores in cluster A, 38 stores in cluster B, and 62 stores in cluster 3. Okay, so take a screenshot and paste it to your Word document. This is your first screenshot. Then we go to cluster representation. Okay, in cluster representation, you see the chart where you have the cluster size versus the cluster number. Okay, so cluster 1 has 50, cluster 2 has 38 stores, and cluster 3 has 62. So stores within one cluster are similar to each other and dissimilar to all other stores in other clusters. Okay, so this is your second screenshot. Next, you go to cluster and density, and here you will see that cluster 1 has high density and cluster 3 has low density. Take a screenshot and paste it to your Word document. This will be your screenshot number P. Okay. So low density clusters imply clusters of noise, outliers, and other loosely associated data. The distance shows how dissimilar the clusters are. Now next we will do feature distribution. So come here, this is a feature distribution. This graph lets you compare the distribution of the variable in a particular cluster against the entire data set. Okay, so it shows cluster 1 with respect to all clusters. You can change the measure being displayed and the cluster numbered in the data panel on the right side. Okay, so instead of cluster 1, you can do cluster 2, and it shows how cluster 2 is compared to the entire data set, and you can choose 3 and it will show how 3 is compared to the entire data set. Okay, so take a screenshot and paste it to the Word document, which will show you the feature distribution. Okay, take all three screenshots. Cluster 1 versus the whole cluster, cluster 2 versus the whole, cluster 3 versus the whole. Okay, next one is cluster center representation. So click on that. So it has 3 clusters, 1, 2 and 3, and it shows a chart of the cluster centers, and you can change the cluster number in the data panel also. Okay, so this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and then this is for all. I would like for you to take a screenshot of all and paste it in the Word document. Okay, now we will go for parallel coordinate chart. You will see that the axes are all normalized. Parallel lines between the axes imply a positive relationship between the two dimensions. Intersecting lines imply a negative relationship. Now take a screenshot of this and paste it to your Word document. Okay, now we will select the scatter matrix charts, and you see the scatter charts of store clusters plotted between various pairs of dimensions. Now take a screenshot of this and paste it to your Word document also. Okay, now let's open the CSV file that we have saved. So SAP A8KB, and let's open it now. Okay. So I'm opening this, right? So let's see. Go to the prepare. This is my data. So which cluster has the most number of stores? Okay, so I opened the CSV file from the one that I saved as SAP A8KB, and it asks us to answer the following question. So which cluster has the most number of stores? We already know that cluster 3 has the most number of store at, I believe, 68. Okay, so we already know that. Sorry, at 62. So cluster 3 has the highest number of store at 62. And then it asks us for one store in each cluster. So in cluster 1, you can name Sacramento. In cluster 2, you can name Honolulu. And then in cluster 3, you can name Tampa. So ask for one store in each cluster. Now, what can the manager do with these segmentation results? That I believe each of you should be able to answer differently, but segmentation helps managers in different ways. Segmentation helps in developing promotion strategies. Okay, then segmentation helps in finding out meaningful information among data. And you can find out other examples of segmentation, market segmentation, and its usefulness, and write here as answers to question number 3. And that basically finishes this assignment, and that's about it. So there are 7 screenshots, and then you have to provide answers to the 3 questions asked. Thank you.